So we did something weird here. Can you blow me a kiss? You blew the turkey a kiss, not me. Did you get that kiss, Lenny? It's a bummer. It's sad and embarrassing. Yo, folks, have you ever had a situation where it started out positively? You were optimistic about it. Things were going great. But then a few days passed and you took a step back and you thought to yourself, maybe things aren't going so well. In fact, maybe things are going badly. I may be in the midst of one of those situations, but I'm hoping one of my astute audience members can shed more light on the situation that we're in and whether it's worth abandoning or continuing. Welcome, yo folks, to my office/guest room where we've successfully incubated eggs and are currently undergoing a seed starting program with a grow kit. Behind the camera, I have the tower of seeds that we started a mere 4 days ago. It hasn't been long. It's just been 4 or 5 days that we've been growing the seeds. And I think most of the seeds are going well, but there's some seeds where I think there might be a problem. Again, it started off really good, and now I don't know if it is good at all. What's happening? Well, most of the seeds you can see here, they seem to be starting as they should. Maybe they're a little leggy, but it's been, what did I say, 4 or 5 days that we planted them. And they're growing, you know? Like I said, perhaps a little on the leggy side. I think it's what you should expect in this situation. However, the green beans and the okra, I'm almost scared of them. I'm almost afraid that they're going to grow so fast that they take over this room and choke whoever enters it. Take a look at these green beans, my friends. Again, we started these 4 or 5 days ago, and they've already outgrown the lid that they're in, busted out, and they're only getting bigger. Clearly, they can't stay in there anymore. I mean, it won't be long before they hit the next shelf, but they don't have that much soil to work with anymore. So I've got to repot the things. I would put them directly in the ground, but we do have a few freezing nights forecast over the next week or so. And that might be the case throughout the rest of March and even into April. Otherwise, I just pop these suckers in the ground. So I'm going to repot them. But the question I have for you, my friends, the gardening savvy among you, are these ruined? Do they stand a chance? Are they too leggy? Are they too stringy for them to be salvageable? I could start some more. Clearly, they grow pretty fast. But I don't know if I should move to that point yet, or if I should try to save these. While you comment below on whether or not I should try to save these, I'm going to repot them. Welcome to the greenhouse. Now, we're going to be moving this out fully into the sun. We'll probably move it southwest of the garden beds themselves in a few days, maybe tomorrow. And another project that I'll be taking on is building some wooden shelves to replace these wire ones. But before I do anything, let me get a pot. This is where I've been storing pots. I think this ought to do the trick to transplant our overeager green beans. I think this should do the trick, so let me go do that right now. Again, I'm not sure if these things will even survive given the state they're in, but I figure it's at least worth a shot. The okra I can probably keep in the tray as it is, but boy, those peas, man, or beans, I keep calling them peas. I was not prepared for how radically fast these guys would grow. Let's see how cumbersome this process is going to be. Now this is the tough part. This tool is surprisingly effective at keeping the plug intact. You see that? This little forked thing, something about the way it's shaped makes it especially good for taking these things out without damaging their roots. Let's see if I can do the rest of them and achieve the same results. I think part of it is you kind of have to cut it with this side first, and then you take the forked end, pop it in like that, and carefully pry it out. They're certainly not standing at attention like they were earlier. There we go. At this point, I'm going to carefully add some more of my starter mix here around these guys just to build them up a little bit. Assuming they're not a lost cause, I feel like this is a pretty healthy environment for them, provided I bring them in on cold nights, which I intend to do. Give it another hit of water. And that's that. These guys I will keep next to them. They're also tall and a little bit too leggy. I don't want them back in that environment. They should be outside at this point. You'll hear this sentiment echoed a lot in the homestead world, especially the YouTube homestead world, but I think it's applicable to life as a whole, no matter where you live or what your situation is. And the sentiment is this: everything is an experiment, including stuff like starting seeds. So will this experiment be successful? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So what is today going to be about, yo folks? Well, I think we'd like to spend the bulk of today prepping the garden beds, prepping the garden area in anticipation of spring and planting things out. So what will that involve? It'll primarily involve clearing out the beds of, I don't want to say weeds, but whatever the stuff that's been growing up in the beds. It's not Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass is weeds. These are things like chickweed and other assorted flora that I'm not sure exactly what they are, but they're easy to pick out of the beds. So we'll get those out of the beds. We'll probably do some tilling. I'll probably do some weed whipping around the edges. We're just going to do a living lanes thing in between the beds, and probably get the herb garden area, the flower garden area over here on the side ready to go with some cardboard and paper bags laid down on it, because we're going to get some mulch and just cover it up with mulch in probably a month or two. The other big thing I want to do is move the greenhouse out here, probably to the southwest corner of the garden. I'm thinking that's where we're going to put it, because we're actually going to start moving starts out there to spend the days and get actual sunlight and not just grow lights. Case in point, the green beans that I repotted yesterday, that'll be the first occupant. Those green beans will be the first occupant of the greenhouse. So, you know, you may think, okay, garden prep, that's not the most exciting thing in the world, but to me it is. Like I've said it before, we get hundreds of pounds of food from this garden and from these garden beds. And it does require some work, and I actually enjoy the work. And I'm actually really excited about what we're able to do with our garden. So today, it's not the most illustrious of things to do, but it's necessary, and in the end it's very exciting for us getting this garden ready for spring. So the soil that's here is actually, the soil that's in these beds is actually compost that we've had now for several years, and that has matured over the years. That's gotten a lot more biological material added to it. And I think that's why year over year we consistently see our crops getting bigger and bigger, except for the squash bugs, which is something I'll probably talk about here in a minute. We've only seen our garden produce more and more food, just hundreds of pounds, like I said at the beginning of this video. So this soil is great. One thing a lot of people are probably screaming at the video right now is like, it's so low in the ground. It's almost ground level. That's true. So one thing that we typically will always do, probably a few weeks out from here, from where we're at in mid-March, I'd say maybe mid-April, is add fresh new compost onto the top of it. That's going to be a combination of the compost that we have, our own compost pile, and compost that we bring in from off homestead. There's a lot of great places that have really good compost here. We'll bring in to top off these beds so they're nice and full and they have lots of soil, lots of compost to work with as we actually get the plants in the ground. One tool that I've mentioned in previous videos in years past, and I'm very careful with it right now since Bub's right here, but it's this Japanese blade. I forget what it's called, but it's a Japanese weeding tool. I'll put it up close to the camera, and this thing is incredible for removing weeds. All you do is I'll keep it away from Bub, and I won't use it while he's near to me, but you find a patch of weeds you'd like to remove, and you just hold them, and you bring this thing under, and that whole strip where the weeds were is gone. It cuts them out by the root. And for these shallow weeds, it cuts them out below their roots. So we don't have to worry about them growing back. For deeper ones, which something like this is probably deeper, I'll go in and I will use this tool, whatever this thing's called, and I'll work around the edges till I find the root system. And I can yank out the root plug. This one I didn't yank out the root plug, but you get the idea. Bigger weeds, I'll go in with either a shovel or this thing. But the vast majority of these kind of chintzy weeds right here, I can just use this cutting tool, this Japanese cutting tool. It just goes in underneath them, and look at that. It's just incredible how quickly this thing works. That whole patch is free from weeds now. And you're not going to even get close to this thing, bud. So we did something weird here, and we put the greenhouse on top of one of the garden beds. And there's a couple of reasons why we're trying this out. Again, I said it earlier in the video, but everything is an experiment. We will be putting potted plants in here. on the shelves, but we're also going to try and grow some stuff in that square right there in the raised bed to see how it does underneath the greenhouse, just for fun. And in the meantime, I connected the greenhouse frame, the bottom frame, to the raised bed itself. So it definitely is not blowing away, because it's not only does it have this heavy wooden frame on the bottom, but it's actually screwed in to the bed frame. We're not going to keep it here probably past May. I'll take it out during May. But this will be a semi-permanent structure here on the garden bed. It looks kind of weird, but I kind of like how it looks, honestly. It's a strange kind of edifice that we've set up, but I think it'll serve as a good kind of temporary early spring structure. May 1st, when we actually put stuff in the ground, we'll probably take this thing off and move it somewhere else. In fact, we may not even have this thing up after May. So for the next few months, this thing will be here, and we'll probably be putting a lot of our potted plants in here, at least during the day. We have a couple of nights in the freezing temperatures in front of us throughout the next month and a half or so, I'd imagine. And on those nights, I'll bring all of those plants inside. But by and large, most of them are going to stay out here during the day. Can you blow me a kiss?
Ma.
You blew the turkey a kiss, not me. Did you get that kiss, Lenny? So of all our beds, 7 I think are ready to go. These 2 behind me. The potato bed, it needs another till, but that's looking good. This bed over here, and then these 3 beds over here. 1, 2, 3. All the weeds are out, and all I need to do is add a bit more compost onto the top of them, and they're ready. They're ready for plants in the ground. This one right here still needs work, but this stuff I like. I don't know what it is, but it comes up really easy and it smells good. And I don't even know if it is a weed or some sort of weird spring herb. I don't know, it has a good scent to it. I'm not sure what it is. And then there's this bed, which I should be able to knock out very quickly. So most of our beds are ready to go. The process is pretty simple, especially with that Japanese blade. There's more work that we could do, obviously, and I'll probably spend the next few mornings before work working on them. But by this time next week, I think all of our beds will be ready to go. There's the flower bed over here, which you saw the before and after. When we started today, this was just overgrown and it was really nasty looking. But right now we weed whipped it down, and we're gonna see what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for some flowers to pop up to see where some of the previously planted flowers will pop up. And then we're gonna mulch around, we're gonna put paper bags around them and then mulch over the whole thing. There's a sage bush here that will keep, the butterfly bush will let grow out again. This edge, these wooden edges that we had, they're all rotted away. They're in really bad shape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove them probably within the next week or 2, burn them, and then cut down some wood from the back pasture and use that wood as edging. We've got a lot of that wood. I have such a blast back there. You can see some of it right there. These things, I enjoy cutting those down. They'll serve as great edging material for this. Long term, what we're gonna do with that area, I'm not sure, but this year, that's how we're gonna handle it. Now, this video started with a question about the viability of these green beans, as well as all of those plants that I started, these okra. Are they too leggy? Are they salvageable? Are they viable? Should I keep growing them? Should I at least try to keep growing them? And I don't know the answer, but something tells me that these aren't healthy, that these aren't gonna work. I'm gonna keep them in the pot. I'm gonna grow them out as a courtesy to them, but I think what I might do with my current setup is germinate all my seeds in the indoor germination station that I have set up with the heating mats and the grow lights. And as soon as the seeds pop out, as soon as they germinate, I immediately move them out here to the greenhouse where they can get actual natural sunlight and not kind of the weird forced focused UV lights. That's the only thing I can think of that will help. I'm gonna give that a shot. I'll do a little bit more research. I'll see how these guys do. Same with these okra. and take a look at some of the other ones that we have inside there. But if they're too leggy, I think that's what I'm gonna do, is just restart them. It shouldn't be that cumbersome of a process. I'll just pick them out, let them mulch the current seed beds, and then just give it another shot. So it's a bummer. It's sad and embarrassing, but it's, again, it comes down to the fact that we're doing a lot of experimentation here. This is the first year we're trying this kind of thing. So I'm going to pick up the pieces, give it another shot, and try growing them another way. Germinate them inside, then immediately bring them out here where they'll get actual, normal, healthy sunlight. It seems like time is really at a premium, even with the part-time job. With a full-time toddler and a full-time homestead and a part-time job, it still seems like we're struggling to fit all the pieces together when it comes to getting things done. Not just on the homestead, but in life in general. But I take a look at what we were able to accomplish today, and honestly what we were able to accomplish over the past few weeks. And I'm proud, guys. I think we're able to do a lot. Like, obviously the garden isn't ready to go today. In 2 or 3 weeks it will be. The one X factor here is, do I need to restart my seeds, and is it too late for restarting the seeds? I don't know. I think the more I think about it, the more I feel like I should probably restart them, probably tonight. So this is future Sean with a little announcement. I decided to go ahead and replant. I could sit there and wonder if my plants were going to be okay when I know that they're probably not, or I could get to work and quickly resow them, reseed them, whatever the technical term is. So I went ahead and did that with all of these except for the flowers, which I think the flowers might be okay. Here's the plan. I talked about this earlier. I'm going to let these germinate. As soon as they germinate, I'm going to hit them with the light, with the heat mats. As soon as they germinate, I'm going to bring them outside into the greenhouse. On those nights where it's cold, where it gets below 45 or so, I'll bring them back inside, let them sit on the heat mat. But otherwise, they're going to live outside. I think they'll do much better out there. That's the plan. We'll see where it goes. And if I need to buy starts again at some of the local nurseries, I do. But I think this is a better method. So wish me luck, guys. Will that be too late to get them into the ground by May? Potentially, but look, if we need to buy some starts from a local nursery, then we'll do that. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. We're doing the best that we can. Let me check on the chickies again. We're doing the best that we can, and we're having fun doing it. We're not perfect, and there's still a lot of learning that we need to get in this whole thing, probably for the rest of our lives. But what we've been able to do for the past 3 years in producing a lot of our own food, maybe not quite 50% of our own food, but close to it. A lot of our own meat and a lot of our own veggies and starches. I'm excited, and that number is only going to get higher. And now that we can incubate our own eggs, our own chickens. Speaking of which, hey guys, now that we can incubate our own chickens, it's even cooler. There's more that we're able to do. How's your water doing? Your water is good. There's a chicken drinking right now. Your food is good. You guys are toasty. It's getting down to the low 50s tonight. I should probably put their panel back in this evening just in case. Let's do that right now. Oh, look at this sunset, by the way. I don't think this camera can quite capture the majesty of this sunset, but it's incredible. In the meantime, I'm going to put their panel in here. Somebody asked a question to me, what I hope to accomplish with my channel. They were curious. It's something I've talked about before. Is it a how-to channel? Absolutely not. Is it a best practices channel? Absolutely not. It's mostly a vlog. I'm just kind of giving you my day-to-day, or at least 2 days out of the week. Work with me Wednesday and then a weekend edition. And you guys get to see what it's like. And it's not perfect, far from it. And there are mistakes that are made. Maybe we don't start the seeds in the proper way, so we have to restart them with time running out. That's the kind of stuff that I want to capture on this channel. So what is, back to that question, what's the purpose of my channel? Is it to show you a bunch of action? Is it to show you how-tos? Is it to show a bunch of drama? No, it's me having a video journal of my daily, or of my weekly life, that I think will be cool to look back on in a couple of years to see how we've progressed. And to show others and hopefully inspire others that may be embarking on the same journey or a similar journey. Or for those who aren't into this whole lifestyle and doing this kind of thing, maybe it will inspire you in other ways. I'm going to get them some more food. I'm going to turn on the brooder. I think the one thing I've learned over these past few years, and as I've gotten older, is just to try stuff out, just to give things a shot. You'll regret it if you don't. If you have the means to try something that you've been wanting to try, I'd say go for it. Give it a shot. Experiment. And if something doesn't work, that's okay. You can pivot. You can shift. You can try something else. But why not? Life is very short. I hope this channel inspires you to give things a shot, even if perfection is not guaranteed. Just try things. Yo, folks, we still have a lot of work to do, and I'm going to be filming it, and I hope that you'll join me next time for the wins, the losses, and the in-betweens. So until that next time, thank you for hanging out with us today. And remember, as always, slowly, slowly.